everybody, this is VG Time, back again with another deck profile. This one's going to be a little bit more down and dirty, working on a new setup, so I'm going to go with the old style of deck profile for now, until that setup gets finished. And the reason why I wanted to get this out to you quickly is because the store championships are coming up in a week's time. So I wanted to give you guys an example of a decent deck to bring there that has a lot of overall power. So if you're not familiar with the format of the store championships, it's basically the Unison Warrior set plus some promos, the starter deck exclusives, and there's an exact list of cards on the official Dragon Ball Super website that you can use in it. So use that list to inform your deck building decisions. So Trunks Future. Let's get into the leader. It has a permanent that says during your opponent's turn, if you will add a card from your life to your hand or place it in your drop area, you may reveal it and add it to your hand instead. This is very strong in a vacuum because it prevents your opponent from being able to crit you any kind of life. It also works against effects and not just combat. Has an auto that when a card attacks, you draw a card, and then awaken when you're at 4 or less life, where you untap one, draw one, and flip them over. On the backside, he becomes SS2 Trunks, Envoy of Justice. He has the same permanent as the front side, the same typical leader auto when it attacks, draw a card, but this is what makes him a good choice in the format. He has to activate main once per turn, where you can pay 2 blue to choose one of your opponent's battle cards and place it at the bottom of his owner's deck, and then at the end of turn switch up to one of your mono blue energy to active mode. So because of the more narrow card pool, there's not really a whole lot of removal in this format outside of in green. There's a smidge in red, there's none in yellow of course, there's a smidge in black, but consistent removal is what I'm talking about, and you have it stamped onto a leader, which makes them a strong choice. So let's get into the cards. 4 copies of the Supreme Kai Unison. If you don't know what it does, the main thing that you care about is the +1 on it, which says that you get to take a card from your life, add it to your hand, take a card from your hand, put it into your life. It doesn't require you to shuffle the life. As such, it allows you to know exactly what cards are where in your life over time. You're only going to really be able to activate this effect like maybe 2 to 3 times, mainly because once you're awakened, you don't really want to be taking life all willy-nilly. But even then, if it's still out there and whatnot, you might want to swap out dead cards in your hand with cards in your life and then keep it moving. We have 3 copies of Mai. Mai is here to help you search the Supreme Kai Unison. And then the reason why that swapping ability and the leader's permanent is so important because of the series of cards I'm going to show you now. So we have this right here, the Boma. The Boma, if it's revealed off of your leader skill, comes into play and you get to search the top 5 for a Goku, Vegeta, or Future Trunks and add it to your hand so you get value for taking that damage. Then you also have Vegeta and Goku. They both do the same thing. If they're revealed, they go to your energy, and then at the end of your turn, you KO them if they're still in your energy. So it gives you a slight bump and ramp. This helps you to get to your power plays. Super combo, 4 copies of Zeno Edge of Space. This is more so to manipulate your energy so you can take advantage of the fact that you put those Gokus and Vegetas into your energy. You're able to combo this on your opponent's turn if you have 5 or less life to swap out your energy. In this case, you will most likely swap out the Goku or the Vegeta in order to play another card there so that you don't lose it. And I believe the way it works is that you can actually bounce that particular Goku or Vegeta, put it to your hand, and then choose it and put it back down into your energy. And it becomes a new card because it went to a non-public zone. And if that's the case, like I think it is, you get to still keep those guys in your energy without losing the energy at the end of your turn. Then it has an auto when you play it, you draw a card, so it's a decent one drop just to help filter through the deck. The payoff for that ramping, 4 copies of Vegeta Infinite Radiance. Vegito right here has Deflect and Barrier, which are 2 keywords that should never be on a card. Has Union Patora, which is blue Goku and blue Vegeta, so you just free, there's no cost to it. But as a permanent, if you have 4 more energy, you're allowed to use cards in your energy as Union targets, so that's pretty cool. But you really want to get to around 5 energy and have a Goku or Vegeta on the table so that you could pay 4 to go into SSB Vegito Paralysis Prowess, 35k Triple Strike, Deflect, Barrier. Again, 2 keywords that should not be on the card, so that tells you it's pretty powerful. And as an auto that if your leader is Trunks Future, which is a payoff for playing the leader besides the good removal, your opponent takes 2 cards from their hand and put it on the bottom of their deck when you play it and when you attack with it. And it does not have to attack your opponent's leader. So on the very first turn you make it, if your opponent still is at a healthy life total, you can start working on board clear while stripping all the cards out their hand. Next up for our negate, we're playing 3 copies of Vegito Warrior that cross time. This could be at 4. The reason why you play this is severalfold. 1, there's not a lot of hard negates in this format. This is one of the few hard negates in this format. A lot of times they are like the free ones, but they have cool effects, but they're not actually negates. So this one is one of the few hard negates. If your leader is Trunks Future, he only costs 1. He puts out a 15k beater, and it helps you to make your Vegito later on down the line. Then as a backup finisher to the Vegito, we play 3 copies of SS2 Trunks for a brighter future. This guy right here is a 20k that if you have a blue Unison out on the table, only costs 2. And if your leader is Trunks Future, you get to draw a card at the end of your opponent's turn. And that's every turn you get to do that, so he gives you some card advantage. Then he has to activate battle once per turn where you can pay double blue, give it 10k, and a triple strike to help close out a game. And then 4 copies of SS Trunks God Sealing Technique. This right here is possibly the most powerful of the free counterplays. Unlike the other ones, he does not come into play unless you want to not get the cool effect. But you have the choice to either bounce the card, like return it back to the hand, the card that's going to be played, or you could put it into play. I don't see a situation where you use this effect to put them into play, unless they're playing something weak, you know, it's the last thing you have and you need another beater on the table. But otherwise, he works extremely well against a lot of decks. He is your out to defuse the Masu matchup. So as long as you have a Unison out there and they try to go for the 9 drop, you just do this, buy yourself an additional turn, and possibly take the cards out their hand using the Vegito and whatnot. Then because we're allowed to use the trial deck exclusives, I'm running 2 copies of the Gogeta Unison from the trial deck. This right here is what I will play later on in the game. I will replace my Supreme Kai Unison with this one. This has the ability to protect you from taking damage late in the game, and it also has removal built into it for larger threats. 2 copies of SS Trunks Architect apiece. This is basically to troll people who are trying to go for game on you. If you have the Vegito Unison out there, or the Gogeta Unison out there, and they go all in on something, you could combo this guy, pay blue, and put a 2 cost or less Saiyan into play in rest mode, which will fulfill the Unison's requirement to help prevent damage. Next, we have 3 copies of this Goku to help self-awaken. It also gives you value once your opponent KOs it by helping you search a Unison. And then 3 copies of this Vegeta, which is a crit attacker if your leader is a mono blue Saiyan. And as such, your opponent's going to want to deal with it. If they do, you draw a card and you get back to Unison for the drop area. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this deck profile. If you're looking for the whole thing, just follow me on Instagram. I'll have the picture right there. And this is the deck. There's of course some really cool side deck options. I'll just go over with them briefly that you have in this format. Now the reason why there's no extra cards in the deck is to help to prevent the Gotenks matchup from being a problem. But if you don't have issues, like if you're not going against Gotenks, then you can run a card like Absolute Confidence. This right here is pretty decent against Unison decks, or at least decks that are trying to win with the Unisons, such as Vegito and various other decks, because it has the ability to remove a counter from Unison, which then shuts off persistent effects on the Unison. So for instance, the Vegito deck has the ability to pay double blue, give 10k and triple strike to the Unison. You let them do that, you let them combo in on it, and then you just play Absolute Confidence, remove a counter. It loses to 10k, loses triple strike, and you just take a hit. So you're good as far as that goes. Final Hope Slash. This is more so something that you will run against wide aggro decks. They swinging at you, you use this, you get rid of the card, and you also get to untap an energy. One of my favorite cards, God Slicing Kamehameha, Black Kamehameha. This card right here is what should have been your Wide Open. But this card, I think it would have been too strong if this was what your Wide Open was. But basically it takes a 4-drop guy, puts it at the bottom of the deck when it's being played, allows you to draw a card. And then if you have a Unison, you know, your energy is blue, you could discard the 2 cards from your hand and play it for free. And then finally, you need to deal with Unisons in this format. So if you have a double striker for 1 energy in your colors, you should rock it, and that's where Vegeta's Savior of the Future comes in. And there's various other cool cards that you can run. I know that there's a really cool Trunks counter attack that would probably make main deck over some of the other cards in this deck, but we don't have that card, so we're not gonna fake the funk like we do. So that's it for today's deck profile. I'll see you with more decks that you can run for this event, and hopefully you guys do well. Thank you.